This is David Perdue from mynams.com and the Novice to Advanced Marketing System, and this is our weekly Wednesday live training. We do this every week as part of our training for people who are part of our community, and we like to invite people into this community to make sure that they experience this Wednesday training, because we really dig into some deep stuff, especially stuff that is with an expert who has an expertise in a specific area of marketing and doing business online today. And we'd like to do that because, nobody knows everything. I mean, I don't care who your coach is, they don't know everything. And they always reach out to people to find the experts to bring them in and get that special knowledge. The problem is often they don't share. So one of the things that we do here on the weekly live training is bring somebody on and find out what they're doing that is special and working for them, because we want you to adopt or adapt some of their techniques and make sure that they work for you. So it's a continuing education. These have been really popular. We've done over 150 of these now, and it's part of our Insiders Club. We have a ton of video and content on these. And we bring in folks like today's special guest, Ray Lane, known as Ray the Video Guy. And Ray has come out with a new training on one of YouTube's newest products and tools. You probably don't even know about it. I didn't either until a couple of weeks ago. And once I found out about it, I jumped on Ray's training, and now I see the power of it, and I wanted to make sure that you know about it. So Ray, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate you being here. Oh,
thanks for having me. I'm excited to do this. Like you said, this is something that is, it's really fresh and new. I know you guys like to talk a lot about specific results that people have gotten with things, and this one's so new that there's hardly anything to even go with yet, which is good and bad. Obviously we don't know in the end exactly how well this is going to perform yet, but I know that YouTube and Google, they have a little bit of weight. Yes, when they throw their weight behind something, you figure it's going to be a big deal. And the fact that we can jump in on this before everyone even knows it exists, I think that's going to be a major factor in really starting to drive some traffic and sales for people.
Now, one of the things that you're new to the community, so I want to make sure that you understand how this works. And what we try to do is bring somebody in and then just let them teach. And so you teach, and I'll sit back here and monitor questions and ask questions. And if we have any issues or any questions that we need to bring up, or I have any, I will do that. But I'll try to make sure that it doesn't break up your teaching speed as we go. So I think you have some slides prepared for us, right?
I do. And feel free, by the way, if we're going through, because I'm going to do some live stuff too, we'll go to actually out to YouTube as well. If anybody throws up a question about something we're talking about, feel free to just stop me mid-sentence and make me clarify it, because we don't know exactly the level of everybody, so there might be some questions that I might think are basic and blow by, and people might be like, wait a minute. So feel free to do that, but we'll try and we'll switch over here to the slides and see if we can do that correctly.
Okay. It's always a little dicey, isn't it?
That's right, it is. All right, so now let me hit full screen and see if it works there. All right, hopefully you're seeing this first slide here. And what we're going to talk about is YouTube cards, and as I put it here, the new YouTube Gold Rush. And the reason I call it that is because this is, not only is it a new tool that we can use for marketing, but this is a new tool that YouTube has created specifically for marketing. This is probably the first time outside of paid advertising that they've ever really endorsed some sort of marketing inside their videos. So this is kind of exciting, and I'm really excited to share that with you. So of course, the first thing we want to talk about is, what exactly are these YouTube cards? Well, what they are is it's a type of annotation. So if you've ever been to a YouTube video where you've seen the little annotations that pop up, this is kind of the next level of those annotations. And what they are is a way to drive traffic from your videos to another video, to your website. If you're running something like a charity campaign, there's options to run to a charity campaign. So there's a few different things you can do with this. And the cool thing is you can have up to 5 of these per video. So in other words, you could have 5 totally different offers throughout your video that these cards will show to your audience. And to continue on that, I've got a little picture of myself here, as you can see. The YouTube cards are part of a 2-part system. And I don't know if you guys can see my mouse or not. I think I set it so that you could. Hopefully you can. If not, I'll kind of describe it a little bit here.
Yeah, we see the mouse.
Perfect. Okay, so what I'm circling here, this is what we call the call to action. And this looks like the old-fashioned annotations. And what happens is, as your video progresses, if you tell YouTube to put up a card at 2 minutes and 3 seconds, well, what's going to happen is a call to action is going to pop up on the screen like this, and the person will click on that, and the card will show up on the side here. You can see it pulls out a little card deck here, and it shows the card, and the card itself has 2 parts, which is the image, which quite frankly, I put this one together just for the example, but it's kind of a terrible image to use, really. But it's got an image, and then it's got the information underneath it, along with the ability to click either the image or the link here to go to your desired destination. So you've got the call to action, and you've got the actual card itself. And just to tell you a little bit about the call to action, this is a limited time call to action. So if you tell it to come up at 2 minutes and 5 seconds, this is going to pop up on the screen for only about 5 to 7 seconds, and then it's going to go away. Now, this little icon that you see at the very corner of it, that will be there the whole time. So anybody that knows there's a card can click on that at any time. But the call to action will appear, and then it'll go away. And then on the next card, it'll appear and go away again. So that's kind of how that works. Now, as we kind of talked about at the beginning, why is this important? Why do you need to be bothered with this? Well, the biggest one is, of course, this is completely free traffic. You can put up your video for free. You can get it to rank on Google and on YouTube for free. And then once people start to find and view your video, you've got the ability to put up a card and for free drive people to your other videos, to your website, to your offers, and whatever it is that you're trying to get traffic to. Now, the other really cool thing about this is it is changeable. And what I mean by that is, when you've got a card on the screen, like for instance, if we look up at the image at the top here, where we've got some cards laid out. If you have this one here and you're a plumber, well, you might have a 65% off sale in May. So you've got that card running in May. And then in June, you might have a totally different sale. You can swap that card out for a different card without having to replace the entire video like you would have had to do in the past with things like annotations or offers that you actually put in the video itself. So you can keep your ranking, you can keep your views and everything else, and just swap out the card for a different offer. And that goes obviously for, I know a lot of your folks are product sellers. The same thing for that. So if you're selling a diet product and they've got buy one, get one free this month, and next month maybe they've got your first shipment free, you can swap these cards out left and right. Now, the obvious one, of course, is YouTube is part of Google. And those two make up the 3 big websites of the world, which are YouTube, Google, and Facebook. And so Google and YouTube, part of the same company, own 2/3 of the top 3 websites. So you can imagine it's very important.
Yeah. So let's just for a second here. You said something about changeable that I think we
yes.
Are you going to go into that in more detail, because I think that is a real key here.
Yeah, when we get into the live stuff and talk about the cards, I'll show you how you can actually change them out so that you can put new offers up there.
And the benefit of doing that, you'll go through all of that as well.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
And of course, the final thing of why this is important, well, YouTube feels it's important. And if they feel it's important, you should feel it's important as well. And they're putting a lot of effort into this. They want viewers to know these cards are there. They've made them, viewable on mobile. They've made them viewable on the desktop. So it's a big deal. It really is a big deal, and they're going to be putting their weight behind it. So now there's 3 things we need to know about these cards. One, of course, is how to actually set up the cards on YouTube. And this includes setting up your actual YouTube account, as well as how to physically put the cards onto your videos. The second part is how to create the cards themselves. So this would be creating the little graphic that we're seeing, like the ones at the top of the screen here. You have to be able to create those. And then the final thing is the strategies. What are you going to use this for? How are you going to drive traffic? And what are some of the tricks you can do to increase what you're doing there? Okay, so let's start off with setting up the cards. Now, to set up these cards, you have to have a few things. One, I didn't put it here, but I think the obvious thing is you need to have a YouTube account. But you need to be a partner. Now, what I mean by a partner is you need to be a phone verified user, and you need to have a linked site to your YouTube account. And what I mean by that is you can't have a card that just goes randomly to, directly to an Amazon link, or directly to a JVZoo link, or even directly to a Facebook link. You need to actually link between yourself and a website that you tell Google you own. Okay. And we'll go over that in just a minute as well in a little bit more detail. But basically, you need to send your traffic to a site that you own before you sell to them. And like I said, we'll explain that a little bit in a minute here. And the cool thing is, though, you can have more than one. So in other words, if you've got a YouTube channel and you do diet and fitness products, well, maybe you've got a fitness website and you've got a diet website. So different products and different videos might lead to the different site. You can have more than one, so you can be able to do that. And now we're going to
the number that you can have.
As far as I know, it's unlimited. They haven't really advertised the fact that you can even have more than one. And so therefore they have not posted a limit, and I've not run into a limit yet. So,
okay.
So now we're going to attempt to do a live demo here. So I'm going to see if we can switch over without causing too much ruckus here. And we'll see if this works. And screen share. All right. So what we should be seeing now is we should be seeing a YouTube channel, or actually just the main YouTube webpage here. And what I'm in is I'm actually in a channel that is kind of an orphaned channel. It's not a well put together channel. And I did this on purpose to kind of show that we can go from anything to being a successful channel with this. So what we want to be able to
scroll your screen a little larger, zoom up or something so we can see a little better.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me see if that works.
There you go. Now we're talking. Perfect.
Very good. Okay, so what we need to start off with is we need to set up our channel to be able to make sure that we can even use the YouTube cards and link back to our website. Out of the box, when you create a new channel, you'll immediately get access to YouTube cards, but you'll only be able to link to other videos and other properties like that. You won't be able to link to your own website until you set that up. So what you want to do is we're going to want to click the little icon in the corner here. And in my case, this very basic site doesn't even have an icon yet. So we're going to go to that, and you're going to go to the Creator Studio, or as I like to refer to it, is the back end. This is your back end of YouTube. Okay. And so here we are inside the Creator Studio. Now what we want to go to first is this area here called Channel. Now inside here, this is where you're going to see all of the things you have access to and the things you don't. Now you can see with this one, I've got a lot of green dots here. That means these things are set up and ready to go. Now the way we do this is you can see I'm partner verified, as it says up here, partner verified. And what you need to do with this, and I probably should have showed one that doesn't have this yet, but in the full training, we go into heavy detail on this. But there'll be a button here that says verify, and they'll ask you for your phone number, and they'll send you a code. You put the code in, and you'll be verified. It's very simple to do. And then once you do, you'll have a few more of these green dots. Green dots are good, as you can imagine. Now over on the left here, if we go down the channel, I know this is probably tough to see through a Hangout. At the bottom here, there's a button called Advanced. Now, if you click on the Advanced button, this is where you're going to tell YouTube what your website is that you want to connect with. So you can see, you might be able to see here, this one says audiogrenades.com, and it says success. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that success and leave it blank here. Now, that does not ruin what we've already set up. So if all of my connections with the audio grenades still works. But what we can do here is we could add another website. Now I'm going to put in Facebook just to kind of show you what's not going to work. So if you were to put in a website that you do not own, or a website you own but you haven't verified yet, and you hit add, you're going to see that it's going to tell you that you need to verify this first. Okay. So you're going to put in your website and you're going to hit that. And then you're going to hit this verify button here. And this, unfortunately, this is probably the most complex part of the whole deal with this. And we'll try to explain this as best we can. Again, in the detailed training, we really go through this because it's not hard, but it's a little confusing. So what that does is that takes you to Google's Webmaster Central, and they're going to ask you to download an HTML file. So you're going to click that, and you'll see that immediately it'll download this little file for me. And all this file is a little HTML file. It doesn't even do much. It's just a code in an HTML file so they can read it. And then what you have to do with that little file is you have to put it in your website. Okay, and unfortunately, it's a little too tough to switch back and forth to show you all of that. And of course, everybody uses a different method. But what you need to do is use, if you're familiar with FTP, that's what you need to use. So anything like FileZilla or CyberDuck, anything you can use to FTP files, or even in the back end of your website, there should be an FTP program in your cPanel. If you don't know what this means.
If people don't know what FTP is, we have a whole series of tutorials in the Insiders Club for
Excellent.
FTP clients, so they can go in there and check it out.
Excellent. And literally all you need to do is take that little file and just drop it into your website. Mm-hmm. That's it. This is the same thing you would do if you were using Google Analytics. It's the same exact type of file. So if you've done that before, this is the same exact thing. Once you do that, then you can hit verify. Now it's going to tell me it's not verified, obviously, because I don't own Facebook. But if you own your website and you dropped it in there, it'll tell you that you are now verified. And then you can go right back to YouTube. And then you can see here, it put my audio grenades thing back already. And it'll tell you, so it'll tell you that you'll hit a little button and it'll tell you that you are now successful. That's how you connect your website. If you want to add another website, you do what we did before. You remove that. And so, for instance, if I put in raisebonuses.com, it's probably going to automatically, it's probably going to automatically tell me that I'm approved because I've got one of those files in there already. And so of course it helps if I spell it right and get it to work.
So when it does remove, when you say remove there, it really just means to remove it from the text box. That's exactly it.
It literally, yeah, it scares the heck out of people, but it's perfectly fine to hit remove. And oh, you know what? I didn't put a www, so it's telling me no. But if we actually go back and remove that again, put the www, now it should automatically tell me that it's okay. Yeah. So there you go. And the reason is because I've linked this website to other YouTube channels, so it's already got a code in there, so it'll automatically approve that. Okay, so now we have our website connected with our YouTube channel. And this is great because you can do a lot of different things because of this. And I remember back about 2 years ago, they added this and had no reason for it. So I would connect my websites and I'd have no idea why I was connecting the websites.
Right.
But
I remember
the option was there, so we did it. And we found out later why that was. So anytime you see them allowing you to do something, just do it. You'll be happier later. So there we go. We've now got ourselves verified. And of course, if you go back to your channel at this point, then you'll see that you've got these more green dots here. You should now have custom thumbnails. You'll have external annotations. And this is what we want to use, external annotations. And what that means is the ability to link back to your website from your videos, not only in YouTube cards, but you are now able to do that with annotations as well. Okay, so that's our setup. That's your basic setup for this. So now what we want to do is we want to go to a video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to my video manager. I was trying to take an extra step I didn't need to do. And now inside of here, you'll see your videos that you've uploaded. And again, I chose this one because I know this one doesn't have cards attached to it yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this button here, and you're going to see down here, it says cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and just to kind of show you a little more clearly, if I open up this video, we'll pause it quickly so it doesn't make noise. You'll also see down here when you're logged in, you've got the ability to jump to cards from here as well. And if you're on your info and settings, you'll see over the top, you've got a cards option up here. So those are the 3 ways you can get to these new cards. So all you do is click on that. Okay, and we'll see we're on this video, and I'll pause that down. I'll even mute it in case we hit play. So now we've got this video for this particular product, and you can see here I've used annotations in the past because we've got an annotation around this, for lack of a better word, button. And so we've got that linking to the website there. But what we want to do now is we want to hit Add Card. Okay, and you can see here we've got a few options. We've got associated website. That's the website we just set up. You've got fundraising. So if you're doing a fundraising campaign, a crowdsource fundraising, you can connect directly to that. You can connect to merchandise. I don't know if you guys are familiar with merchandise at all, but these are YouTube partners that you can actually sell products directly from inside of YouTube. It doesn't get used as often as it probably should, to be honest with you. And then the final one is you can connect to a video or a playlist. Now, what we want to do is we want to do associated website. So we're going to hit create, and then we can put in our link here. So in this case, I'm going to go back to the audio grenades. Okay, so you can see it's already an option in there. And now it tells me if it was an incorrect website, it'll tell me that it's not a connected website. But in this case, it is. And it comes to this next this next screen here where you can put in your title and your call to action.
So Ray, do you have to put in your top level domain, or can you go with?
Nope, you can go to a very specific page. So for instance, in my work, what I do, you saw I connected raisebonuses.com.
Right.
I have a lot of different, very independent sales pages on that. So it might be raisebonuses.com/Aweber.
Okay.
And there'll be a very self-contained page for Aweber. So you can put in, /Aweber here or whatever it happens to be.
Okay.
So now we want to put in a title for this one. And we're going to say, vibration speaker, just because that's what this is. Okay. And then we have our call to action. Now the call to action is that little pop-up we showed at the very beginning, the little text pop-up. So we could say, save 20% on audio grenades, or whatever, whatever you want to have it say there. You want to have it be a good call to action in there. So it could be save 20%. It could be, register now for the webinar, whatever it happens to be. Now you'll notice here one other little option is there's a button here now called change. This is something they just added recently. And what this does is this allows you to have a slightly different text on the card itself when it pops up. So for instance, if you don't put a teaser text, what happens is when you click on the save 20% and it shows the card, underneath it, the clickable link will say save 20%. But if you wanted to change this slightly, you could do that here and say save 20% now or something, whatever it happens to be. And so that'll just give it a slightly different text, completely optional. So now what we want to do is we want to upload an image. Now, in many cases, you're going to want to go and create a nice image for it. But there are a couple things that usually will happen, and you'll see it didn't happen here. If the website has images on it that are usable, it'll pull them in here automatically. So you may not even have to upload a card. It'll actually create one. And if you link to another video, then the thumbnail of the video will actually show up here. But most of the time, you're going to want to upload your own image because you can do some fun things with it. And in this case, we're going to come to this product here, and we're going to find, let's say, this one here, okay, which is basically the same one that's in that other picture as well. Now, again, for a nice card, you're probably going to want to go into Photoshop and put some information on there.
Your image there, should we be?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll bring it in here. Yep, because you're only seeing that one screen, not the rest. So you can see here, I brought in this image. Now, typically, this is where, you may want to go into Photoshop first and create a card that says, information, like for if it's a lawyer, free consultation, things like that. In this case, I'm just putting a nice product image in there. Okay, and then we're going to hit create card. And that's it. So now you can see save 20%. And when you click on this, down here it says save 20% on audio grenades. And that's that difference I was talking about.
Okay, make that, if you would zoom in on that a little bit and go back just a tad so we can see the teaser text, because I think I just figured out what the teaser text is and why it's so important.
Yes. And of course, all it does is shrink the card.
Yeah.
The card, forget about that. The card actually doesn't change size. So.
Okay, well, when you went to the teaser text, the teaser text is what flips out from that little button there, that little information button.
See it there? It says save 20%.
So it comes out and gives you an indicator that there's something to click there. Otherwise, you don't really know how to click.
Exactly. And like I said, I'm assuming, and again, we probably shouldn't assume. I'm going to assume, however, that YouTube is going to put a lot of time and money into getting people to know what this little circle with an I in it is. Because I think this is their future. They know it, and I know they're going to put some effort into getting people to know that. So again, in here, this is your actual card. And you can see it says audiogrenades.com here. It has our title here, the vibration speaker. And then it has the call to action for clicking, which is the save 20%. And if we click on that, it's going to take us to the website.
And that looks suspiciously like a Google AdWords.
It does, doesn't it?
I'm wondering if they're going to, well, I'm sure they're going to integrate it in some point, somehow.
I'm pretty sure they will in some way, shape, or form as well. I'm not sure how that's going to look at this point, but I would be willing to bet that will be the case. And again, that's another reason they will make sure people know what this little eye icon is.
So I can see people getting crazy with the little eye icon over there with an arrow pointing to it and all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
What are the do's and don'ts?
One little caveat for that, and YouTube does tell you this. If you go to their creator blog and you look up the YouTube cards, they'll talk about this. They tell you don't point to the card in your video. And the reason for that is on a mobile device, it's not going to pop up over the screen like this. It's actually going to show up below the screen as a separate card. So this will actually show up underneath the video. And so you don't want to point to the left side, to your left and say, hey, click the card, because if you're watching mobile, it's going to be below. However, that doesn't mean you can't point towards the eye icon, which I actually do in a lot of my videos. I'll point to that top left corner or top right corner, but to my top left there, and point up and say, click the eye icon or click the call to action.
So the eye icon is always in the same spot on your video, no matter
should always be
mobile or not.
Yep. And if you've been to YouTube lately, you'll notice that they used to have your watermark there, and they've moved that down to the bottom. So if you wondered why they moved that to the bottom, this is why they're putting a lot more stock into having that eye icon in the top right corner there. So okay, so that's your basic setup for the YouTube cards on how to not only set up your channel, but how to get them into the actual video. Now, this is probably a natural time to ask anyone if they have any questions about this part before we get into some of the other things here. So if anyone does have any questions, feel free to toss those out now while I switch back to the slides.
Yeah, they're not asking any questions about this one thing, but I will say that the thing that I'm noticing is that the card itself is like it's a whole different way of thinking about your ad, right? About your actionable. The thing I did not like about YouTube was there was not a whole lot of action you could take with it. I didn't feel like, but now there is a ton of action to take with it.
Yes, and it is a very different way to start thinking about things. And when we get into the strategy part, you're going to see some of the ideas we can really start to think about with this, because as I mentioned, you can have more than one card. You can have up to 5, and that presents some really interesting marketing stuff that you can do, which we'll talk about a little bit in just a few moments, and you'll see what I mean with that. Okay, so if we're ready to move on, we're going to talk a little bit, and I won't get too detailed into this. We're going to talk a little bit about the creation of the cards themselves. Now, this is the actual graphic that we see. And of course, as I mentioned, if you're going to another video, it'll pull the thumbnail from that video. If you're linking up to a web page, it will try to pull a piece of, a graphic off of that page. And you might be perfectly happy with that. If they pull a graphic that you like, you're fine. There's nothing else to do. But we're probably going to want to go into Photoshop or GIMP, or even, as I put here, PowerPoint and Keynote, because I've seen some people make some amazing graphics using those programs.
I use PowerPoint all the time.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I never had thought about it until I saw people doing it. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But you can use that as well to create your YouTube cards. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to take a new file, and the file size, YouTube has not said what the file size is. I chose to go with 800 by 800 because I believe that's what they tell you to use for your icon, your thumbnail icon. So I figure that's a good starting point. However, I've also noticed that any square size graphic works. I've done 250 by 250 as an experiment, and it worked just as well. I mean, the cards aren't huge, so you don't need to be 800 by 800, but I figure better to have a really nice high resolution image if they'll let you than to be upset later if they blow it up for some reason. And of course,
and if it gets played on TV or,
that's definitely another issue with that. I know that the YouTube on TV thing still isn't huge, but it's going to get bigger. And, that brings up another point too. I haven't even attempted to see what happens on a TV with the YouTube cards.
Right.
I'm guessing probably nothing at this point, but it'd be interesting to see if they do something with that.
But it is square, is that right?
It is the actual graphic is a square, even though it's an optical illusion. It looks like it's actually taller than it is wide, but that's due to pixel shapes. But it is actually a square graphic.
Okay.
And then, of course, they use standard imaging, so JPEG, PNG, and GIF. We had a neat kerfuffle going on the YouTube Cards Facebook page the other day because somebody uploaded an animated GIF and it worked.
No kidding.
It did. And then everybody else who tried within an hour or two, it no longer did it. So apparently YouTube has done this a few times where they've, I think, almost forgotten that people could do animated GIFs and then later come back and pulled that option away. So it doesn't seem to work anymore, but it did for a minute, which was kind of fun. Okay, so when you're creating your cards, this is where the marketing part comes in. You want to have some sort of compelling image. And, by compelling, I just mean something that people can identify with and they understand. In this case here, this is for a bankruptcy attorney. So you can see, people, there's money, there's associated drop. There's also a click here and a free consultation. So the idea here is you want to have something that relates and makes sense. Up in the top here, it's a cartoon of a plumber, a guy with a toothache, a doctor standing in front of a spine for chiropractic. So anything that really makes sense and is going to help get a message across is what you want to put here, something that draws attention as well.
Now you have a local marketing background, right?
I do, yes. That's where I actually come from, is the local marketing.
And so the YouTube Cards piece of this and the YouTube channel has become a huge boon for you.
Oh, yes.
Because you can really get people to the top of the channel and to the top of the Google search engines by going local on them.
Yep, absolutely. And
now they have a click through off of their YouTube channel.
Yep, and it's
or their blog, because you said the cards really transfer over to a blog as well, right?
Yeah, the cards can go to anything on your site, and I know like you mentioned, a lot of your guys are selling products, either affiliate products or directly selling products, and it works great for that too. The limitation, of course, is what we talked about before. They have to link to your website, but of course, even if you're selling an Amazon affiliate product, you can have a page on your website that reviews that product.
But my point about it is, if you create a YouTube video and you embed it on your site or on one of your, if you embed it from one of your affiliate site, the cards remain.
Yes, they do.
Okay, good.
At least in all my testing so far, whether they come out with a code that people can turn it off on you, I'm not sure. But yeah, it has absolutely worked on all of those. In fact, I believe even on Facebook, I believe it remained, which was kind of interesting. Wow. So, and I'll double check that, because again, that might be one of those things that gets blocked quickly.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so once you have your compelling image, you're going to want to entice people to click. And what I mean by that is literally, in this case, it says click here. Because especially at the beginning, people might see these cards and not realize they're supposed to click on them, or whatever it happens to be. So telling them to click, people take action when you tell them what to do. And so that really can be a big help. And of course, a nice call to action, in this case, free consultation. I mean, that's pretty obvious to people that, what that is. If they're looking at a bankruptcy lawyer video and it's got free consultation, then they know, they know what that is, and it helps. So, and
the click here doesn't help. It doesn't hurt.
Exactly. So you might as well have it there. And to be honest with you, the click here is probably pretty small on a lot of people's screens. So having a nice big free consultation is definitely a bigger help as far as that goes. Okay, so now you've built your card. You've figured out how to set up your video or to set up your account to be able to do these YouTube cards. So what I want to do with our remaining time is really talk about some of the strategies that we can do with this, because there are quite a few. And in our Facebook mastermind group, people are always coming up with new things. And I sit there and go, oh, wow, I never even thought about that. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. But I've broken it down into these 3 categories here. One is to drive traffic. One is to drive views to your other videos. And one is kind of a surprise one that people don't think about much, and that's to boost your rankings. Okay, and we'll start off with third. We'll go backwards in order, because the first one is the biggest one. But I want to talk a little bit about boosting rankings. And what I mean by that is the ranking of your video. Now, one of the easiest things you can do is to get a video ranked on the top of YouTube and or on the top of Google. And by the easiest, I just mean, you try and get a new blog up onto the front page of Google. Good luck. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of work. But with videos, you've got a massively increased chance of doing that, because you've got the weight and authority of YouTube behind your video. So what this does is this allows you to boost those rankings through what's called session time. And I want to explain a little bit about that without getting too crazy. But let's say you put up a video for your diet product, and your diet video is 2 minutes long. Well, if somebody finds your diet video, clicks on it, and ends up on YouTube through your video, they watch your 2-minute video, but then they stick around and they watch another person's or one of your other videos that's 1 minute long, and then another one that's 4 minutes long, and then another one that's 3 minutes long. Well, now your session time is 10 minutes because you drove traffic to YouTube and they stayed on there through 10 minutes of videos. And what happens is they count that towards, as kind of like a check mark for you. Hey, you gave us 10 minutes of session time. That means your video is cool and gets people to stay here and hopefully click on ads. And so what they do is they'll reward you. They will make sure that your video gets higher in the ranking because it's getting more session time. Now, don't get me wrong, there are 100 different factors that help boost your ranking, but this is one of them. And if you do all of your SEO for your videos properly, and you've got good session time, well, it's only going to help benefit you and get you to move up even better. So believe it or not, using YouTube cards can actually boost your ranking because you can link to another video. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
It does. It absolutely makes sense.
And just to clarify, you can link to another person's video. It doesn't even have to be yours. So if it's a friend of yours that has a related video, or another channel you own that has a related video, as long as they stay on YouTube, you're going to get rewarded for that. So that's kind of a little secret trick that you can do by boosting your rankings. And now the counterpart to that is, of course, driving views to other videos for other reasons. So for instance, linking from one video to a related video, even if it's not yours, or if it's on one of your other channels. So this just allows you to get people in, give them more information somewhere else. It also gets you views to less popular videos. So if you've got a video that talks about your diet product And then you've got maybe a testimonial video from one of your purchasers, and maybe that one doesn't have a lot of views. Well, you can use the popular video to say, hey, check out this testimonial, and send people to that one as well. And you can boost that one's view count and get people to that video as well. And then the final thing I put here is it can be used to link from a teaser to a full video. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say you've got a short video, because one thing that scares people away is long videos.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things people do when they open a video is look at that time. Oh, it's 10 minutes. I'll forget it. I'm leaving. But if it says 1 minute or 2 minutes, okay, I'll stick around for that. So what we've found is if you can create a short video enticing them to watch the full video, then when they click through, they're more likely to watch the longer video and stick around. But you have to use that teaser video to really get them to want to get to the bigger video. And it could be in a number of different ways. The short one could be, hey, we've learned a way to drop 20 pounds fast, and we've got a video that tells you all about this. And even at the end, we're going to give you a free diet book to download, and then tease them off to the bigger video. And that's where you can make your pitch and your sell and really hit them over the head with what you're trying to do. So that's just one way to use these cards to kind of drive traffic and be able to get people to your offers. So I hope that makes sense as well.
It does.
Excellent. Okay, so now the big one, driving traffic. And I broke this down as well into 4 different categories: coupon cards, offer cards, action cards, and option cards. And what a coupon card is literally a coupon. I mean, if you look at YouTube cards, they look like coupons. So why not make them a coupon, right? And this is where we talk about some of the things where you can swap them and whatnot, because you want to be able to provide a specific reason to take action. So in this case here, 35% off for 7 days only. Okay. Great local. This is great for the local businesses or for product sales. So if it's the diet product, it's 35% off. If it's the carpet cleaner, it could be, 1 room free. And then, of course, like we talked about, you can change these offers over time. In fact, maybe I'll switch back to live, because I mentioned showing that earlier, and then I didn't show that. So if you guys don't mind, if you can indulge me, I will actually go back to live so you can see that as well. So I think that's an important thing to show off.
Yeah, the changeable cards to me was really important, because you can, as you said, load up a video, and then you have the option here to put a card on it that would be a coupon card for this month. Then next month it's a different coupon card. Or, if it's somebody who has a Friday sale.
Yeah.
About the upcoming Friday sale until it's done, and then put up next week's Friday sale.
Yeah, one of the examples I used is, imagine a restaurant that has a special offer every day. You could go in every single day and put up your, Tuesday special, your Wednesday special, and change that out. And all you have to do to change that is we come back into our cards area here, and you can see this is the card that we created. And if you hit this little pencil icon, it allows you to edit it. So now we could say, let's upload, instead of the Big Daddy version, we're going to show, figures now I can't find the one I want, right?
Another image is what we're going to show.
Yes, another image if I find one that there we go. That's a slightly different, same type of product. This is the smaller version. So now if we hit open, you'll see that it changes that there.
Yep.
And we could say this month we're saving 25%. So we're going to change that to a 5. And then we hit save, and that's it. Now you've changed your card, and it took 10 seconds to do that. You can see it already says save 25% here, and we got the new image. It says save 25%. So there you go. It's that quick and that easy to do.
So I don't know the answer to this, but maybe you do. Is there because I can see a solution already in the progress for people where they can do like you do with Facebook, where you can schedule your ads, right?
Here's the thing with that. There have been rumor of such a thing. So we're keeping our eyes and ears open on that. As far as I know, there is not now. Whether some third party can figure that out or if YouTube does it themselves, there has been rumor that that there is something in the works for that. But I don't have any
a fellow would
details.
have like a whole playlist of 20 videos, and you'd want to change the same card on all videos all at once.
Or even, the other thing would be, you schedule your coupons for the entire year, and every month they switch automatically, things like that. Yep. That's kind of the rumors that we've heard, but I haven't seen anything of substance yet. So
okay, cool.
We'll keep our eyes and ears
open. If that
open.
happens, this will explode.
Oh, I think so as well. And it could well be, it could be some sort of third party that does it as well instead of YouTube. So we'll maybe I'll start talking to some software developers and see if we can figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. So I will switch back to the slides here. Give me one moment. Yeah, there we go. Much better and smoother that time. Okay, so like we said, with the coupon cards, you can change those out whenever you want. So now the second one is the offer cards. Now the offers are ones that are going to entice people to take an action versus to save money. So in this case, we've got an example here of a chiropractor with the free consultation. And the click here, because the idea is, we get people to take action by enticing them with the free consultation. They don't have to pay anything to get that down there. And this is for giving things away. So I'm using a chiropractor's example of a consultation, but this is great for a free ebook. This is great for, first month free, things of that nature. And, obviously list building. So if you're building a list, this is a great way to do it. And what we've found is that in some of our tests, that list building with YouTube can be huge and fast. We did an experiment with a brand new list in a niche we'd never done before, which was card magic. And what I did was I found an encyclopedia of card tricks that was PLR, so we could give it away. And I used YouTube to drive traffic to a squeeze page for it. And we built a list of 300 people interested in doing card tricks in about 2 days. So that's a pretty good result.
Yeah, that's a very specific niche, and you can use that then to drive people into ClickBank products or commission junction products or whatever you can find, right?
Yep. So and the reason that I did that experiment is I had been doing that with my stuff for ages, but never by itself to see if that was what was causing the opt-ins. So that was my experiment to see, and sure enough, it worked extremely well, and it cost me about $10 to build that 300. So that's a really, really good result with that. So those are the offer cards. Give something away and use the card to do so. Now the action cards. This is where you focus on an action, a pain, or a pleasure. So in this case, we're talking about, this would be for a bankruptcy lawyer. And of course, the action is stop the harassing phone calls. Okay, that is a major pain point for people in financial distress, is those phone calls every single day from people harassing them.
And that's a great image that jumps out at you too.
Yeah, it does. So that's what you want to do. You want to focus on an action with this. Pain, pleasure, whatever it happens to be. And this is great for, like I said, service industries. So the bankruptcy lawyer, you could show a thing with back pain for the chiropractors, stop the back pain, whatever it happens to be. This is great for the embarrassing stuff. All those, foot creams and whatever it happens to be that people don't like to talk about. So this is great to kind of entice them to get rid of whatever that embarrassing thing is. Okay. And on the opposite side of that, this is great for webinars. Join the webinar now, that kind of a thing. So if you're doing webinars, this is a great way to do that with these actions.
So you just gave me a big idea, because we have a ton of content, as I have pointed out. We have a lot of auto webinars that we have set up. Driving traffic to those could be an issue, is an issue. So if we set up YouTube channels where we have the 2-minute teaser to the auto webinar, which we do with trailers, then we can put the cards on those and just have people click right through to the auto webinar where they can sign up and watch the whole thing.
Absolutely. And you know, obviously the cards are too new to have any case studies specific to the cards with that, but using YouTube and the annotations, we actually were able to do that quite effectively to send people to the auto webinars. So the cards should potentially make that even easier, especially because they work on mobile. And one thing to note, excuse me, the reason that this is so important is over the last year or so, the views to YouTube have gone from 40-60 in favor of desktops to 60-40 in favor of mobile phones. Mm-hmm. So in other words, now more people are watching with mobile phones than with desktop. And so by having this ability to use cards that work on mobile, you can get back all that traffic you were losing because you didn't have an ability to have them click through. And if you ever used the mobile version of YouTube, even your description with the link in it is tough to find sometimes.
Right.
So that solves that. And again, this is, you know, it's great for all those types of things. Now I want to talk about the option cards. Now this is, we'll go live again because this is kind of tough to explain with text. But what an option card is, this is where you use the fact that you can have more than one YouTube card on your video. And so this is great for anything that's a gold, silver, bronze business. So in other words, if you've got the gold package, the silver package, and the bronze package, this can really help you to lay that out and get people to the place where you want them to go. Okay, so this is great for software. If you think about, you know, oh, this software, you can buy the white label version, or you can buy the developer version, things like that. And this is great for local services. So for instance, carpet cleaners, the gold carpet service where we do, you know, we clean and we put protectant on it. Or the car dealer, you know, oh, we'll wash it, or we'll wash it and wax it, or we'll wash it, wax it, and clean your inside, all that kind of stuff. So this is great for those types of services. And I put together a video. So let me escape back out of here again. I did put together a video that has these options so you can kind of see what that means, because I know it's a little bit difficult to understand when I'm just talking about it. So we're going to go back to our site here. We're going to hit Video Manager, and I'm going to go to a different video. We'll try to, oh good, it's silent. Okay, good. Okay, so you can see here immediately it says get the bronze edition. Okay, so now when I click on this, you'll see that I've got the bronze edition right here. And I made this up. There is no gold, silver, bronze, but we'll have to fix that afterwards. But you can see here we've got the bronze edition, but notice what's underneath it, the silver edition. What's underneath that? The gold edition. And when we don't have our screen blown up large like this, all three of these will show up at the same time. And now right now we have to scroll because we got the screen blown up, but on a normal sized screen at normal resolution, all three of these will show up on the screen at the same time. And so what we do with this is in the video itself, you might reach a point where you say, well, we've got three versions. We've got the gold version, and then have a call to action that says, check out the gold version. And then you can talk about the gold version. It's got XYZ, ABC, 1, 2, 3. Then you say, and we've got the silver edition, have another call to action that says, check out the silver edition. And then you talk about the silver edition, repeat that for the gold. But every time that the pop-up comes here and says, click the silver edition, click the gold edition, you're going to see all three. And the kind of cool,
somebody who had a membership that was bronze, silver, gold,
yep,
they had a 2-minute explainer video of what those different things are. You could actually have timed call to actions.
Absolutely.
Or at the moment when you're explaining that section, is what you're saying.
Yep. And here's kind of the cool thing too. And it's tough to show because I don't know exactly where the cards are in the video right now. But when you get to the silver edition and you talk about it and that call to action pops up, the silver one will be at the top.
Aha.
So it'll go silver, gold, bronze. Then when you get to the gold one, it'll be gold at the top and it'll be gold, silver, bronze, you know, that kind of a thing. So it will swap the cards out. So whichever one is currently being talked about will be the top one. And so that makes a big difference too. So that makes it really, really cool in the fact that you can do that. So you can get all three of your options up there and technically 5 options, but most people have 3 options. And of course, the 3 options, usually those 3 will fit on the screen, whereas 5, you would definitely have to scroll.
Okay.
And the cool thing is, in mobile, it'll show up as 3 down here. And they're really, on mobile, they're actually bigger and more pronounced, which is kind of interesting too. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the gold, silver, bronze option cards. And that's, fantastic. If you've got the membership that's got the 3 different versions and you can do a little explainer video, that's perfect for it. And it really helps to drive traffic specifically to that location. And of course, all 3 of these could just lead to the same page that had all 3 options. It doesn't have to go to an individual page, but you could have it go to the gold page, the bronze page, and the silver page. So hope that makes sense.
It does. I'm actually looking for your video on mobile to see what that looks like, because I haven't noticed that before.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. And in the training, I actually do some screenshots and things of the mobile version of it. But basically, your video would take up the whole top of your phone, and then underneath it would be a bar just like this one here, but it would have the image followed by the call to action on the right-hand side. So it's very, very slick stuff. All right. So let me, if that makes sense to everybody, then let me see if I can switch back to our presentation, which we're just about done with. So we're barely going to go over the hour. So we did okay.
That's good. That's good. There's a lot of good information here.
Okay, so the option cards, once again, have the video talk about option 1 and have a card pop up. Have them talk about option 2, have the card pop up, or technically the call to action pop up, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see here in this screenshot, you'll see that all 3 are on the screen at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes a big difference there and really helps out. And like I said, just to reiterate that, when you get to the next one, it will swap out and the current one will be at the top. So it gives you some great options with that. And so with that, we have hit exactly 1 hour. And so if anyone has any questions, I will field those for as long as you would like me to. And hopefully everybody has gotten something good out of this.
Here. So explain the difference between annotations and the cards, and do they work together?
Sure. Actually, let me switch back here, because I think this is the perfect time to do that. And to show what I mean, because we have the perfect video up that has both. If I can get back to our switching here, there we go. And make sure I get to the right thing here. All right, are we seeing the correct thing now? No, we're not.
Seeing Facebook.
Oh, hold on. Let me change that again. Everyone's reading my private messages now. Let's see, where is it? Now I've lost it. See, now we've blown it by doing this, right?
Well, it's always the screen thing, right? There's always a bunch of...
There we go. I found it. There we are. Okay, so you can see here on this video, we actually do have an annotation here, and we've got our cards here. And both will link back to the website. And the way that the difference between these 2, here's the difference. The annotations are very cool because they show up on the screen itself. As you can see here, this is up here all the time. And the other thing is they can be animated. On a Hangout, it's going to be very difficult to see, but this button here has like a blue highlight around it. Mm-hmm. And when you play the video, that highlight is actually pulsing. So it gets brighter and then darker, brighter and darker. So you can have animated buttons that you can then annotate around, and you can see this black box is the annotation that you would create there. And the difference, the other big difference is you can't change this. This is here forever. It says click here to get YouTube pricing. We can never change that text. We can never change the image without getting rid of the whole video. So that's the big difference there. So you couldn't do, the 20% off in May, 30% off in June. You couldn't do that. What you could do is you could do click here for our specials, then go to a page. And if we go over to the annotations, I'll kind of quickly go over that too, because that kind of falls into the same category as cards. But you can see what you do for annotations is you would add an annotation. In my case, I almost always use the spotlight. And if we wanted to have the phone be clickable, you could actually put an annotation over the phone and then add your website that you want to click to. And of course, now it's not going to automatically show up, is it? Grenades. And let's see if I can spell it right. There we go. So now you can see that we've created that annotation there, and we can do things like you can make it have a color around it if you wanted to. Personally, I like to just keep it blank so that you can't see that unless you're clicking on it. And so now you've turned the phone itself into a button. And so that's kind of the difference between the two. I think they both work hand in hand for two slightly different purposes, and I really hope YouTube keeps both. And the other thing to note is this will not work on mobile. So this cool button here on a mobile, you can click that all day long. It's not going to do anything but stop and start the video.
So an annotation doesn't work on mobile, but the cards do?
Exactly. So that's the other big difference between the two.
So I'm just going to hold this up so people can see what that video looked like on my mini iPad, okay? Not the one with the cards. All right. And so they should be able to see right here.
Yeah, and it's tough to read, but you can see the images below there, and of course you can see that there's some sort of text next to it, and that's exactly how the cards look on mobile. They kind of stretch them out instead of overlaying them underneath. But I think they're actually potentially more effective underneath like that. I think it gives them more room and more prominence. But yeah, sadly the annotations do not work on the mobile though. I was hoping they would fix that, but they never have. So. But that's how you would do that. But I still use both.
Well, I can see where they would be used completely differently, though, from a strategic perspective, because annotations would be, subscribe here or opt in on our pay for our newsletter or whatever, something that's never going to change. And if you got anything that's going to change, it's got to be a card.
Yeah, and one other thing to note, you don't have to do what I did here, which is to have a graphic in the video itself that this was put in while editing the video before it was uploaded to YouTube. But the other thing with annotations, you could do, a note and say subscribe now. Mm-hmm. And then you can still link that, so you can still add your website here. And again, it's not autofilling, so I'm not going to waste time typing it in.
Sure.
You get the idea. Now, this, of course, can be changed. It's not a very compelling, it's not as compelling as an animated video here, an animated button, but you can change this. You could move it later. You could change the text later. You could change the link later and things like that. So that can be different, but I think the cards are much more effective for that purpose.
Right. Okay.
So I hope that makes sense to everybody. The two different versions.
It does. So you've actually started training people on how to set this up, and you've got a very active private Facebook group about all this because people are pretty abuzz about the possibilities with YouTube cards now, right?
Yeah. In fact, when I first saw the cards, I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I got excited about it, and I started putting them in, and I immediately did a training on it just because, I knew nobody else had yet, and it would be a while. So I put something together right away, and I was actually surprised at how excited people were by it. I honestly, I wondered if people would be like, who cares? Or, oh yeah, it's kind of cool or whatever. But the reality is people really went nuts over it. Especially the local guys went really crazy over it, seeing some of the possibilities. But, if you've got something you're trying to drive traffic to, I mean, it's a free tool. It's right there. As long as you're willing to put that initial, 20 minutes into setting everything up, because once it's set up, it is such a breeze to just add these cards, add these cards, add these cards. And of course, the other thing is you can go back and add it to all your other videos. So if you did a video, if you did 100 videos over the last year, you can go back and add cards to all of them. So it's very simple to be able to do that.
So why don't you go back to your presentation? I think you're going to show us how people can get more training from you. And
Actually, you know what? I didn't even put that into the presentation because I figured you had a button you wanted to show them.
Yeah, we can talk, and I can just tell them about it.
There you
Because
go.
one of the things in fact, you know what? I'm also going to show them your page for this, and I'll show them the membership site as it comes up.
Oh, cool.
Because, tell the truth, I think this is a pretty cool deal. Let me just grab it, and I'm putting in the link at the top here. It is nams.ws/YT cards is where people want to go. And this is, let me see if I can get my screen up here. Here we go. Yeah, so I want to show people this because it is, you're covering just about everything in this training, including basic setup.
Yep.
Everybody should be seeing that now, I think. And you're covering basic setup for YouTube cards. I mean, for YouTube, basically, is one of the things you have the YouTube cards training here for YT cards. Now they can upgrade from that link that I got and get a lot more training here as well. I don't know if all of that's included or not. The templates.
The template area is interesting. That's the YouTube cards training, and the YouTube card templates are part of the basic version. And the templates actually come with the pre-made Photoshop graphics. Mm-hmm. So in other words, like a lot of the ones we saw in the presentation, you know, the chiropractor and the doctor and the dentist and all that, those are in there so that you can download the Photoshop files and pre-made ready-to-go versions as well. So you don't even need Photoshop in many cases. And so you can grab those and put them right in as cards right off of that. So you get the training and you get the graphic templates to go along with that.
So one of the reasons I upgraded to this was this little guy right here, was the video list builder. This to me, this is what excites me about the entire system that you put together, because when it comes time for us to do our list building challenge in the NAMS community, insiders community, video is one of the big ones. And now that we have a card and annotations that we can drive people to our website or embed these on our website and get other people to drive into our system using their affiliate links and stuff like that, that is an amazing opportunity, I think, for list building. And I love that.
And that deals with, you can see at the bottom of their list building case study, that's our case study about the magic community that I was talking about.
Right.
It's in there. And of course, you know, we teach the basics as well. In fact, I remember when that first launched, I had a couple people that emailed me and it's like, you're not teaching me anything new. This is all the basic stuff everybody teaches. I'm like, well, have you gotten past about video 2 or so?
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah, I'm just kind of showing you the normal everyday stuff in case you don't know it, but skip ahead, you know. So that's where we get into the actual strategies.
This is really soup to nuts on this thing.
Yeah, it is. I even teach, you know, what your giveaway should be, where to find giveaways, how to build a squeeze page. So all of that stuff, which many people probably do know, is in there in case you don't, but you can skip ahead. Once you skip ahead, we get into how I actually built the list using the videos. And it does require that you run ads to your videos, but very, very cheap ads, very inexpensive.
Well, and that's the other thing that I was excited about, and I'm going to come back now. That's the other, and you can come back out here too, since you don't have a page up. So show your face.
Oh, people are so lucky, aren't they?
And you know, by going to that link, which is nams.ws/YT cards, I think people are going to be absolutely shocked at the price of the training that you're offering. Do you want to tell them what that is and how long that's going to last?
Yeah, it's currently set at a whopping $14.
Yep, that's what I noticed. And you know, I think it's a really amazing training for something that is out so fresh, and you're on top of it right away. And you're one of the very few people who are doing this training at this moment.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to get it into as many people's hands as possible, because the more people that know about this, the more people that use it, the more effective it's going to become for everyone else that's using it, because being new, not a lot of people know it exists yet. Not a lot of people know to click on the card, or they don't know to click on the eye icon or the call to action. So by providing people with an easy way to really start using this, it's only going to help everybody to get more attention to it and to make it a more effective way of marketing. So that's why I wanted to get it to as many people as I could right away.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. And I'm so excited about this and the annotations piece as part of our new marketing strategies. The thing I see, this is the thing that I saw right away. And it was the first thing that I saw, is that YouTube has always been a place that collected my content, but didn't really give me an opportunity to drive actions the way I wanted to, unless I wrote the descriptions completely, or I added some kind of annotation in there, or I have other restrictions. YouTube now becomes just an offshoot of my website. Those playlists that I'm building now become things that I can actually use to drive people into additional money-making streams. So for me, I was really excited to see this piece, because I think YouTube, now there's a real reason to market on YouTube other than branding and getting your face out there and all that stuff. So I was really excited about this.
Yeah, they got a new president, and she is much more innovative in that front, and that's why you're seeing a lot of these clickable links and now cards and some of these other things that they've done. And I have no doubt they're going to be bringing many more things to light over the next year or so, along with removing some things. Oddly enough, I noticed yesterday that they had actually removed something out of YouTube that you can't do anymore. So things change all the time.
Well, Ray, this has been really good, and I really appreciate you being here today to help us with this, because this is, like I said, something that people are going to be using in this month's challenge, which is YouTube marketing for our insiders. And we're going to focus a lot on this in our 30-day challenge. But I think we're going to be coming back to this over and over with a lot of the other things that we do, because YouTube and video are so important, and the marketing piece of it now is a real killer. So,
well, and if we can say one other thing, is keep your eyes on Facebook, because Facebook video is going to be the next big frontier, and that is starting to open up as we speak, literally.
Okay, so Facebook and YouTube together, and you've got a couple of marketing powerhouses, right? You become a broadcaster.
Yes, you do.
Okay, thanks again, Ray. Appreciate.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me out here.
You bet. Bye bye.